Hey, welcome to Today Dreamer, a podcast and YouTube channel where we explore the interplay between inner and outer work, and we look at what cultivating the practice of presence within our lives feels and looks like once we clear the mind and open the heart. So, this is just a short clip from a full podcast episode, which I'll leave a link to around here somewhere. If you'd like to check out the whole catalog of episodes along with guided meditations and what I have on offer, please head over to todaydreamer.com and have a peek.
So we want to start with the feeling. And then as we explore what is the meaning of the feeling, then we begin to also bring our intellect back into it. But you don't want to start with the intellect. The intellect has nowhere to go. It's like a race car, but no direction. It doesn't matter how fast the car is, how powerful the engine, whether or not it's designed fuel efficiently or has brilliant colors on racing stripes on the side and so on and so forth. If the car is driving into a cliff or off of one, it doesn't matter whether or not the driver has a PhD. Somewhere along the way, there has to be guidance. There has to be a kind of sense of direction. And the feeling, the value systems, the underlying basis of choice that is embodied in a kind of built-in physical wisdom gives us that guidance, right? It's a sense in which we have a direction that we want to go in, and that direction is infused with some sort of meaningfulness that is maybe something we don't appreciate right away or know right away. We have to then use that feeling to inform our thinking, to basically say, okay, I trust that I'm feeling something, and that the fact that I'm feeling something is important. There's signal here.
Mm-hmm.
And so in effect, we want to then start to use our imagination, right? It's not necessarily an intellectual facility, but it can become that. So we have this feeling, and then we start to imagine various scenarios. Am I feeling this way because maybe I'm worried that, and you fill in the blank, right? Or maybe I'm reminded of some traumatic experience or something like that. So you start to try these different hypotheses, and you compare how that imagination makes you feel versus how you feel, and you make that comparison, and then you start to develop a kind of narrative as to why you feel that way, right? So it's like it's taking an unconscious, I don't know why I feel this way, and converting it into one that is conscious. And so in effect, there's three parts. There's this imaginative facility, there's the feelings that it's translating, and then this sort of intellectual narrative as to what those feelings mean. And when
And
we
then
get
and then
those,
the follow through.
yeah. So in other words, the idea is that if I can, I have enough flexibility of imagination, I've worked with this exercise enough that I start to become really good at noticing when I have a feeling, figuring out what that feeling means by, maybe I talk to it, like with people, this is kind of stereotypical, but women talk to one another, right? Men should too, right? We want to say, well, I'm feeling this, or I'm thinking that, or so on and so forth, and they compare how the statement makes them feel relative to what it was their original feeling. So if I say, hey, I feel sad, I can start to notice whether that feels consistent or not, right? So I might say, well, actually, that's not quite right. I feel a little, I feel a little depressed and partly anxious, and I think the reason is because of this. And then I now have another hypothesis, and then I say, nope, that's not quite right either. It's actually because of, and so in effect, we're fine tuning our ability to be aware of the nuances of our feeling. It's like we're engaging more deeply. We're getting more present and more embodied and more in touch. And with that capacity, we gain an intellectual capacity to have a connection between what we're feeling, what our intuition is, and what our intellect can tell us. That's when things really start to work well, right? It's if I just have the intellect and no imagination, I'm not even going to think of things that might be options that are worthwhile. As you mentioned a minute ago, sometimes it's, okay, something's not quite right. Stop, look, and tell the truth, right? Or just stop and just look around and try to figure out, okay, what are the feelings that I'm having? What are the imagined scenarios that are maybe concerns? And how do I construct a new alternative, a new choice? So this capacity to choose well and wisely is going to be based on our capacity to have discernment rather than judgment. It's creating the options that are the right options, the ones that are win-win, the ones that are genuinely based upon our values rather than some projection.
If you would like to go a little bit deeper, if you're someone that may be going through a bit of a transitionary period in life and you'd like some support through that process, head over to todaydreamer.com to see what I have on offer. If you're interested in learning to meditate or deepening your practice of meditation, or even just developing a consistent practice and you would like some support in that process, head over to todaydreamer.com and register your interest, because I'll be putting out something very shortly to help you guys out with that. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and click the little notification bell so you don't miss any of the good stuff to come. Thank you again, and I will catch you in the next episode. Be well.